Congratulations, 5th place, 6 top 5s, and technically 2 first place finishes.
Technically, it was 2 first place finishes for sure.
There's no prize.
There's no prize.
Prize somewhere emotionally, mentally.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
A little PTSD for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk about Vietnam for a second, because you guys were one of the last teams to arrive in that crazy travel day, but you were able to find that 5:40 a.m. ticket. How did that go down?
You know what? We weren't first there. Todd actually found the tickets and they just started grabbing, and
yeah, he bumped me out of the way. I was too small to reach.
She grabbed, instead of grabbing one, she grabbed the whole pile and flipped through them, and there it was.
Yeah, the second I could get my hands on them, I just reached and grabbed the whole thing. And then I shuffled through them and I was like, oh, there's one in the back.
I don't think it was supposed to be there, but it was there and we had it, and we weren't letting go of it.
No.
They had to take it from us.
Right. You guys got U-turned. First off, was that a shock at all? Were you surprised to see that?
We knew that it was either going to be us or Robin and Chelsea, because people had talked about them and they were kind of making them out to be the villains. But we knew that we'd put a target on our backs. We'd kind of been leading for a while and we had quite the advantage. And we couldn't figure out if people were going to vote out of emotion or if they're going to vote out of strategy. And looks like they went after strategy, because they bumped us.
Yep. Joel and Garrett, those pesky mustachios.
I mean, I'd argue that's not a great strategy. You guys had such a huge lead. Like, that was just not the leg to get you out if that's the goal.
And going back to that, that's exactly right, because we completed the first roadblock and we got to the second one. We were side by side with John and Greg loading bricks, and they shut us down and said, hey, go back and get your receipt. And when we went back, we took a 40-minute drive back. And the guy saw us and said, y'all are good to go. And it was such a waste of time. We lost an hour.
I genuinely believe that we were so far ahead
that
it wouldn't have made for good TV. I think that's why we had to go back, because
we were there.
There was no reason. I mean, we even clarified. There was so many things. We survived.
Yeah. Not even close. You totally survived. How did this change your mindset at all, though, to have to go through that?
Well, it was cool for me to see other teams like getting a little more competitive, because in India, I remember looking at one point and I saw Liam and Jeremy like chilling on their rickshaw, just having fun. And I'm like, am I the only one here competing for $1 million? Or am I going crazy? And so when I saw people finally getting a little competitive edge, I was like, cool, like this is the game. This is what we're here for. So that kind of lit a spark in me, but I don't think America really likes people who compete.
Strong women.
Yeah. You in Slovenia, this was an interesting leg. You seemed pretty emotional or just frustrated from the get-go, which led to some mistakes. But what was it that just from the start made you feel like this wasn't your leg?
Navigation.
Tell them about the city.
About Slovenia.
When we first left, we got stuck in this little city for 2 hours. I mean,
we took an exit at an airport and we crossed the highway. We crossed the highway probably 5 or 6 times, but there was no entrance ramps like there are here. Yeah. We couldn't get back on the highway. We stayed on the highway, but we couldn't get to it. And I think we asked 20 people how to get on it, and nobody could get us back on it.
Yeah, we ran out of signing forms because we asked so many people.
The frustration level was so high by the time we left there that's why when we got to the airfield, she said, you go do it. I can't even focus on that thing. You get so far behind. Yeah, just start off bad. And then.
And my biggest fear, I didn't want what happened to Andrea and Melina to happen to us. I did not want Phil to have to come and find us and tell us we were last. I was like, I want to show up on that map for him to tell us, like, I want to run the race. That's ultimately what I wanted, was to make it to every country, because we wanted the full race experience. And that day, I thought it was over. I was like, we're going to miss out on all these other beautiful places and experiences because of this.
You have no way to know where anybody else is. And going up on them like we did there finally and saw some people that, you just got to hope that somebody else makes a bigger mistake than you do. And obviously somebody did. So,
well, you you guys knew you were kind of in the back of the pack, right? You're frustrated, but then you still attempt the express pass. Talk to me about this.
We one had tunnel vision. Two, we were conditioned the whole race to look for red and yellow, and all we saw was the red and yellow flag. We did not see the little teeny tiny ballpoint pen that said taken on it. Like,
well, I can't read that far without glasses on, but I could see the red and yellow. So I was heading for the red and yellow and said, this is our only hope to get back in this thing.
Yeah, and for some reason, like, we knew that obviously, like, somebody before would have taken the express pass, but the Amazing Race can do anything. We checked a little box that said we acknowledge that at any point in the game they can do whatever they want,
and it was still there. So
we thought
it was still open. It looked like to me there was still an express pass in our clue, and I said, well, that's our ticket. We actually took it first. We left and went and did the challenge, and we came back to it. So we'd actually been there twice. That was the second time when we decided to climb it. We said, let's do it. This is going to get us back in the game. And
we said maybe there's a second express pass. Maybe there's another one. Maybe they threw in another one for us because we didn't see the sign. So it was just tunnel vision.
But on the way down the zip line, I do remember having the conversation where we said, you know how this is going to air? They're going to show that taken sign, which we never saw. There's just taking signs somewhere they're going to show and then show us going up and go, look at these big dummies.
Yep. Do it.
We knew it right then.
We're like, well, that's going to be aired.
Yeah.
I mean, even with your frustrations, this mistake, I mean, this is just how good you guys were, is that you're still in it, like you're not eliminated. Did this, and it seemed like your emotions, your mental states changed the next leg. Did this change you?
I mean, I was competitive from the get-go. I think regardless, my mission was always to do my best and do everything in my power to win. I mean, that's what we signed up for. That's what we went on there for.
I think a big change that day was, Morgan, Swedish Morgan sat and talked to her on the tarmac while I was flying and kind of talked some sense into her head. And what's so sad about it is when we got to those spiral staircases, we had the same conversation. We said, we're last, we're going to run the field when we see him. I said, I'm taking the elevator down because it doesn't say not to, and then we'll run from there. And then we heard the girls. So until that point, we had no idea that we weren't dead last. And that motivated us to get moving. That uplift your spirits back up, knowing.
Yeah. And we said, even though, like, I remember saying in that episode, I was like, okay, we're going out, but let's go out with a bang. And in my head, I was like, even if this is it, we're going to run to Phil. We're not going to walk to Phil because this opportunity, like, we want to run to Phil and know that we ran our race.
That's right.
So
this last leg for you guys, was the navigating, was that the biggest issue?
That was always our issue. It wasn't the task. It wasn't the challenges. Yeah, I was slow running and everybody's made such a big deal about it. It didn't matter if people could pass us, but as soon as we got to a challenge, we'd work together and knock it out and leave ahead of somebody. So the navigation seemed to be our weakness. And
it was.
And we thought we had it figured out a couple times. Then, boy, you make one wrong turn, it'll sure get you turned around for a while.
And they asked me, I remember at one point someone said, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get home? And I said, I'm going to turn on my car and I'm going to turn on some music and I'm going to turn the little GPS girl as loud as she can go. And I pray God that she screams at me to turn right in 50 feet. I was like, that's all I want is the GPS. Like, I'm never taking her for granted again.
Right. Well, what was the highlight for you guys for this race?
For me, the highlight was travel. I travel a lot and I see a lot of beautiful places. And so I think that over time, my perception can get a little bit clouded because I've seen beautiful mountains in Switzerland. So when I see a mountain in a different country or Tennessee or something, it's not as big and grand and majestic, but being able to see the world through my dad's eyes kind of lit that spark in me to appreciate all the little beauty that's around the world that maybe I take for granted. And seeing the world through his eyes, it changed the way that I see it. And
she's begged me for years, let's go on some crazy trip. Let's go hike this mountain. Let's go to Kilimanjaro. It's like, girl, I'm not doing that. And getting this, doing this, which I never thought would happen, and then being a part of it and doing it with her. And the downside is the haters that are out there, but we had a ball. We had so many good times, so much fun in every country. We were laughing somewhere or cutting up somewhere, and just doing it with her. it's documented. We'll have it the rest of our lives, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
So.
And there's so many moments too that like my dad's the funniest person I know in this world. And the whole cast could vouch for that too. I mean, every episode they've been messaging us, when are they going to show Steve's one-liners? When are they going to show? Because he's so funny, but they just didn't show the side of us. And for that, I'm a little sad, but the highlight of it all was just being able to do it with my dad and have the experience that we remember versus what, you know,
And to make it that far, we made it to all 8 countries. So, well, you know, we made it a lot further than
we gave him hell.
Yeah, we gave him hell.
Absolutely. I mean, a parent-child team is sometimes difficult. I mean, the fact that you guys made it to the top 5, like you guys did really, really well. So, I mean, Anna Leigh, so competitive. Absolutely wild to watch how you guys just like powered through these tasks.
I remember some people, it was Lena and Joel, I think, said when we see Steve come into a task, we get nervous because they knew how fast he would.
Well,
He's right
Mr.
through
Check, and I started asking for checks immediately. Check me, check me. I figured, you know, tell me what's wrong now so I can fix it.
But I knew he'd be good at that. I knew if I could take and I said it in our audition tape, I said, he can be the brains and I'll be the brawn. And we laughed about it then, but it really showed through on the show. He was the brains. He was the one who would sit back and think through things a little bit longer. And I was the one that was just kind of spitfire, ready to go. And I think that helped us a lot because we knew on the back end how we operate and how we work and like what lights a fire under us. And I'm proud of you. I think you did a great job.
Yeah, I think we both did. I think we were a good team, and I think we went a long way. And you said top 5, we're top 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, please correct me. Absolutely. My apologies.
We have to take everything we can get.
Yes. Steve, you sound like my dad. It was like watching you guys. I quite enjoyed it. And I love some fiery Aries energy as well, Anna Leigh.
Gracious. Well, America doesn't.
Right,
So.
that's for sure.
Well, America's picky about a lot of things. So don't take any of that to heart. You know how the internet is.
I know. I'm trying not to. I just hope that I get the opportunity to be my competitive self where competition's allowed because I don't feel like it was really.
Dad, you know what? We met 26 people, or 24 besides us that, you know, are all wonderful people that we'll probably talk to the rest of our lives, and they all have our backs. So those are the ones that matter to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for your time today.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.